All right, I'm here. Hello, everybody in the chat. I can get a yay or nay for the audio. I have no clue if this is actually working correctly or not. I should probably tap this, make sure it's the right mic, which it is. Because I'm actually doing this from Linux Mint. It's just where this idea came from. I don't know. Yay on the audio. Awesome. Good. Welcome everybody. I think this is the most concurrent viewers I've had right from the beginning. I feel like the clickbait title drew some people in. Definitely drew at least one troll in. I had to block him. So I don't really have a plan for tonight other than to show you that I'm on Linux Mint and that it's actually on hardware. I actually installed this thing. It's like installing Ubuntu. It was basically the same thing. But anyways, welcome to everybody. Hello, I'm going to mispronounce your name, Lamar. Welcome to the channel. Welcome, everybody. I love Linux Mint and it shows. Yes, I did. Yeah, indeed. President of the Linux Mint. I should get a better title than president. Maybe chancellor or something. Anyways. Yeah, so here's Linux Mint on. So if we do a neofetch here, which you can actually see this is on my actual hardware. Oops. So yeah, there's proof. I've installed Linux Mint. Now the question is, how long do I stay with it? That I don't know yet. I'm gonna rice it tonight and see if I can stay in. This is cinnamon, by the way. I chose cinnamon because it's their project. Lamer, okay. So far on this, all I've done is install a few programs. I've installed Bitwarden, I've installed OBS, and Audacity I have installed now. And I think that's all I've done, other than I changed the layout of the menu here at the bottom. By default, this has bigger icons. I did not like that at all. So I changed that. But other than that, I've done nothing. I might have installed something else. I don't remember. Audacity I installed. I don't think that there was anything else. Oh, OBS. No, other than Bitwarden and those two, those are the only three that I installed. And I did that from the Software Center. Do I still have the Software Center open? Apparently I don't. Which, they don't call it the Software Center, they call it the Software Manager, which is confusing as fuck. Because, I mean, it's really a store. But yeah, those are the only three that I installed so far. Basically, this is just GNOME software, but without all the snap stuff. This is still pulling from deb packages, I believe. So it's pretty old in terms of, you know, that, because Mint hates snaps, which is something that I can agree with the Mint team on. I don't like snaps either, so that's a win for me. Let's see here. What about settings? I haven't even actually been in the settings yet. Hey, why does this distro exist? Hi, Joshua. How you doing? There are lots of distros that work out of the box, though, not just Linux Mint. You know what? I could get behind Cinnamon quite a bit. This isn't bad, but this theme out of the box is just fugly. There's so much blank space here. Who designed this nonsense? Move this box up over here or something. I don't know. I'm not a designer, but this is kind of garbage. Let's see here. Themes. We're going to change some stuff here. We need to do that, and then we need to... Wow, those all look exactly the same. They're just different colors. I'll choose the red one. And controls. The red ones. Oh, that's so much better. It doesn't look so empty. Cool. There, I've raced Linux Mint. All right. Let's see here. What else can we do? So that's just snap. What's weird is if you drag it to the top of the screen, it just does the top half. So there's no way other than double clicking or clicking the, you know, the maximize button to get to go full screen. That's not something that's usual in other. Like KDE is always, you drag it to the top, it goes full screen. I think Elementary OS is like that too. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about my dislike for Mint, okay? Because really I don't have a dislike for Mint so much as I have a dislike for their focus problems. I really wish that they would focus on LMDE. And my reasoning for that is that they use that as a backup for Ubuntu. And when you need to have a backup, when you think you might need a backup, your best solution would be just to work on the backup itself. Instead of splitting your attention both ways, just go through and focus on one. Now, Terminal for Life has talked about this, and other people have talked about this. You can't force developers to do anything. They do what they would like to do, and it's perfectly fine. It's, you know, their work, and they can do what they want. These are just my opinions. I really do think that they would be better off if they were going to focus their time on anything, just focusing on one. But that's my beef with Linux Mint. The actual operating system itself, I don't have a ton of problem with. I think Cinnamon is actually a great desktop environment. It's not for me. I think this is kind of ugly. For, you know, just even choosing any other theme would just make this still way too much wasted space for me. But I'm not a floating window manager guy. Like, I'm not. Okay, that's cool. Thank you, Lamer. So yeah, that's... I've gained a reputation for hating Linux Mint itself when really that's not the case. And I've come around a little bit to it being it's a good, very stable Linux distribution, but it could also be exactly the same thing just based on Debian, which I think would probably be a better thing, because then it's not just another thing based on Ubuntu. Granted, then it would just be another thing based on Debian, so I mean, it's not really half of one, six of the other, you know? So I can change that here. Maximum, oh, yeah, that's a good one. I'll do that. Oh yeah, that's much better. That's the way it's supposed to work. Then I could do this. Yes, that's much better. Yeah. I know it has a Debian edition. That was my point, is that they have both. Yeah, they literally took Ubuntu and ripped the snaps out of it. I mean, I'm sure they've done a lot of other stuff too that you just don't really realize. So really, all they're doing is trying to make Ubuntu as Debian as possible, which means that they should have just done the Debian thing to begin with. Yeah, I like LMD. LMD is my favorite version of Linux Mint. It's great. It's just what they should focus on. Because it's obvious that the Mint developers just despise Ubuntu, so they should just abandon Ubuntu and focus on the Debian edition. That's what they should do. And I've talked about this many times before. And I've gotten a lot of flack for it because there are a ton of people that just love Linux Mint, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's fanboys for every Linux distribution. I love Arco Linux. You know what I mean? I'll shill for Arco Linux every day of the week. So there's nothing wrong with being a fan of it. Because of their fear of backlash. If they phased it out and gave people time to get used to it, like, just tell everybody that you're going to be, the last Linux Mint Ubuntu edition is going to be released in 2025. You know, give them 4 years to get used to the idea. You know? Then there's not going to be a backlash at all. I mean, because then if somebody really wanted to, they could fork Linux Mint. I mean, it'd be dumb, but I mean, they could fork Linux Mint Ubuntu edition and make their own, if that's what they really desperately wanted to do. But I think part of it is that a few years ago, they removed the KDE version of Linux Mint, and they did that because they didn't want to focus on so many desktop environments, and that's perfectly fine. I think it's a good idea. But they did that simultaneously while maintaining 2 different distributions, which they are doing. Then I guess, I mean, my thoughts on the Debian edition have even kind of strengthened after trying Debian for so long. There definitely needs to be more and more Debian-based distros that aren't based on Ubuntu, because Debian itself, not necessarily the best new user-friendly distro. But it has a lot of potential if somebody puts, a little bit of work into it. And a lot of distributions are. Sparky's really good. Puppy wasn't. Oh, it was Linux. Was it Linux Lite that's also based on? I don't know. There's a couple of them that are just based on Debian that are actually really good. Sparky was definitely one of them, and I really like that. It's basically just Debian with a better installer. Well, I mean, I think they do forget about it, Joshua, and I think that's the reason why they've become so focused on ripping as much stuff out of the Ubuntu edition in order to make themselves happy, when they could just be happy with the Debian edition. There has to be something that they want in Ubuntu that keeps them there. You're right, Tim. What that is, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't even tell you, because they've ripped out. I mean, snaps is what makes Ubuntu really Ubuntu. I mean, it's really, at least nowadays, that's what defines what Ubuntu is, other than their flavored version of GNOME. And the fact that Linux Mint has ripped that out, they basically just created Debian. Well, it does have a better, but you can use, through some trickery, the Ubuntu repositories in Debian if they really wanted to use the Ubuntu repositories, but they don't like the Ubuntu repositories all that much either, because half the Ubuntu repositories, several of the things in the Ubuntu repositories are defaulting to snaps, like Chromium and pretty soon Firefox and things like that. So, I mean, Ubuntu messes with their own repositories all the time and pisses Linuxmen off. The drawbacks of LMD is that it doesn't get updated nearly as often because they don't focus on it. Again, they could get past the up-to-date software simply by basing it on SED. You know, they could, if they'd go on the unstable route or incorporate the Ubuntu repositories if that's what they really wanted to do. But really, I mean, the unstable repositories would probably be just fine. Well, the reason why Debian won't work with newer hardware is the stable version will come with an older kernel, yes. But there's ways to get around that. Well, I mean, I think we can all agree that just snaps just suck. It really bothers me that Snap messes around with my file system when I don't want it to. But that's another video that is actually coming up. I'm going to do a whole video on why I hate snaps. Heavier on RAM. I haven't noticed that, but that's... I mean, there's probably something else running in the background. I'm not actually sure what I'm using right now, but it's going to be quite a bit because I have OBS running. Yeah, about 4 gigs. I have OBS and a couple Firefoxes and stuff. Yeah, there are some people out there that are very much Snap fanboys, and I don't understand that at all. But then again, I'm an AUR fanboy, so I can't really throw stones. Snaps are slow. The thing is, when people say snaps are slow, they open it up and then, after they start using it, oh, this just feels just like the regular application. But when you talk about the speed of snaps, you're talking about on the initial cold load, or when it first loads up the first time, that first launch is going to be slow because there's extra stuff between you and the actual thing that you're loading. Yeah, they are containerized. They're also compressed, so they have to, there's a compression thing that they have to do there in the middle. So it's even worse on older hardware. And I mean, and that's really, that's all beyond the whole thing. For me, the reason why I don't like snaps, like I said, I'm going to make a video on this, but who cares? The reason why I don't like snaps is dualfold. First, they put a snap folder in your home directory. It's not hidden or anything. You have to see it. You can't remove it. Unless you're on Ubuntu. Ubuntu, for some reason, they can hide that thing, but not on other distributions. And they also, and I don't know if this happens on Ubuntu or not, but for sure it does on Arch, they create a ton of loopback devices. So every time you do like an LSBLK, and I posted a picture of this on the community page if anybody wants to see it, they'll actually go through it and create a whole bunch of loopback devices that are things that you really don't understand what they're there for. And that means they're messing around with your file system. And that just drives me bonkers. Like, I don't want you to do this. It's so dumb. I'm not technical enough to know why they do it. It just pisses me off that they do it. Flatpaks don't do it. Flatpaks are actually really good. They're not even slow. I mean, they have their other problems, like their syntax in the terminal isn't as good. They don't seem to have as much software either, which is a shame. It also seems to be a lot of that stuff gets, it's older than snaps. what's wrong with loopback devices? Well, there's nothing probably wrong with them. They just piss me off that they're there. Like, I want to be able to control my file system, and I do for the most part. But I don't want an application that I install, say, I don't know, Joplin or something, creating something that is hard-coded into my file system. Like, it changes the file system, and I don't know exactly what it's doing, but it's dumb. I can't actually, if I open up another thing of Ubuntu here, or Firefox, and go here, and I go to community, and I scroll down, this is what the loopback's device is. This is just the standard output of LSBLK. And these are for snaps that I don't even know what the hell they are. Like, it's just regular snapd. Like, one of them, like, I don't even have GNOME installed. Like, what? On that system, GNOME's not there. Like, all these things, when you do an LSBLK, so this is what LSBLK should look like. Right here. This is, you know, it has all the hard drives as listed out, and that's all there should be. That's literally all it should get when you do LSBLK. That's what it's for. But yet, you install snapd, you get loopback devices here in that exact same output, and it just drives me absolutely nuts. Like, I'm sure they're not hurting anything, it's just my OCD gets up the better of me. Yeah, and they don't go away either. You can remove the snaps, they still stay. You can't, as far as I know, you can't remove them. So, we kind of got past the point of Linux Mint, but that's okay. It's going to be a meandering stream for a little while. That's going to be the way it is. I didn't really have much of a topic. Especially if you're using the Ubuntu repositories, it will reinstall it as a dependency if you install something like Chromium, because Chromium, they don't have a deb package anymore. It's just a snap. Same thing with Firefox is going to happen. So you won't be able to install Firefox on Ubuntu without having snap installed, unless you go through to like the Firefox or the Mozilla website and install it. You know, package it yourself. Like install. I believe like Mozilla will offer you the deb, then you can install it with DPKG. Hi Maeglin, how you doing, bud? Tiago, if you're talking about to me, this Linux Mint is actually on hardware. I installed it on a hard drive that I have in my computer. And I'm going to do another video, and I'm going to do how to install DWM on Linux Mint while I have it here. I understand the reason for making Chromium a snap. I can understand from a developer position why they did it. But I don't necessarily agree with it. I think there are probably easier ways. I mean, for one thing, let's just say this outright. Ubuntu supports way too many versions of itself. So they're still supporting Ubuntu 14. 04 or whatever it is. That's like we're working on a decade on that. Like they're decade support of these distros. I understand why they're doing it, because it's all corporate and stuff. Like it's for the enterprise. But the fact that they have to go through and support those long-term support releases for so long means that they have to have Chrome builds and Firefox builds soon too, for all those old-ass distros. And that's why snaps make sense. Or having only snaps makes sense. But it also comes with the fact that you also still have to have snap. And the solution to this is just to make snaps good. You know what I mean? Maybe make them open source so that the community can actually, you know, get in there and fix some of the problems, or make them so that they're not fast and do stupid things with your file system like this. I mean, it's just dumb. ArchSinner, haven't you had enough pain with Gentoo over the last 4 days? I'm just asking. I mean, why do you really want more pain with LFS? Someone mentioned Zorn. I haven't used Zorn in quite a while. I do remember feeling that they're very pushy when it comes to, you know, getting you to pay for their distribution. And that's fine. They need to make money, but some of the things that they tout as features are just like, hey, we'll install Kdenlive for you. That's not a feature. You know, now if they have gone through and added the support mechanism for people who pay, that's actually a good thing. You know, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, hey, we'll help you install this, and if you have questions, you know, whatever, seeing how you paid, you'll get priority support. That's a good idea. That's not something that really exists in the Linux world for, you know, just the desktop environment, you know, Linux on the desktop. All the support packages out there in the Linux world are for enterprises. The biggest problem with the whole paying for Zorn thing, though, is that people are so conditioned to get Linux for free. That's why that support thing is probably the best way to do it, because before they started shilling their support package, all they really were saying is that our pro version has all these apps installed. Like, and then as someone who's used Linux for a long time, you see them trying to say that installing all these packages is some kind of feature, you know, that you should have to pay for. And that always just rubbed me the wrong way, because it's so easy to just install software. You know, it's not that big of a deal. It looks like I'm buffering a little bit. I don't know why. I'm still on green on both of these things. Maybe it's just the preview here for me. So if I'm buffering, I apologize. Okay, let's see here. Let's close some of this stuff here and then play around with the panel. So let's see, panel. So like you can move this thing. Can you just like drag it? Like I'll admit I don't even know. Oh, cool. That's where the panel should be. Let's see, what about, so we got applets. So this is basically XFCE. That's basically what this reminds me of the most, is the XFCE. Like a more modern version of XFCE, and I've always liked XFCE. Oh, it's not buffering for you, good. I don't know why the preview here on my picture here was spinning around and round and round. Let's see. Show all windows, show the alert. I don't think I actually did anything there. Well, that's cool. So you can import your settings from a file, so you could like theoretically share your stuff. There's also a refresher. That's kind of neat. That's something I kind of wish like something like Polybar would have. A lot of times Polybar gets stuck especially when you're messing around with like the window names and stuff. It really cool if they had that kind of feature. Grouped windows list. What's that? That made the screen. That's that. Okay. I have way too much stuff open. Now I see why they have this by default instead of this. Yeah. Let's see, panel edit mode. So does that mean we can like delete this thing? Yeah, there we go. Yes, that's better. And then we can like drag this over there. No, you can't drag that over there. You gotta drag probably the separator. Probably. As you can tell, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But that's the best part of this. Yeah, Wayland is still broken for a lot of window managers. Sway is probably the best one, but even that has problems with other applications. OBS and stuff doesn't really work yet with Wayland, even though it says it does. There's an extra package that you have to have, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't install as a dependency. It really should. It's just not there yet. This that is a little bit better, I suppose. Well, that closes really fast. That's better. Just... Oh, here's something else I wanted to bitch about for a little while. So by default, let me show you this. It's something that I really don't understand. So by default, the Firefox instance that Linux Mint ships with just 2, or I guess 3, because it includes Wikipedia, but basically 2 search engines. Now I can understand not including Google. You don't want people to use Google. And they include DuckDuckGo, and the other one's Yahoo. But by default, they've chosen Yahoo. Now, impromptu poll from the chat. When was the last time anybody used Yahoo search? I mean, seriously. I can't remember the last time I used Yahoo search. I wasn't even still aware Yahoo search was even still a thing. Isn't Yahoo search just a front end for Bing? That's what I thought it was. I thought Yahoo search used Bing. Maybe that was just back in the day. But I don't. That has to be something that they get like they almost have to get like some money for that or something. I don't know. So, but it's weird because I mean they've gone out of their way to remove Google because Google becomes by default in Firefox, and so they've gone out of their way to do that. And so it makes it seem like they're trying to be very privacy focused and anti, proprietary, all this stuff. And then they choose Yahoo instead of DuckDuckGo as their default. That's just really, really weird. I did a search earlier, because if you go to yahoo.com and you do a search, this looks so much like a Google search that I didn't even realize that it was Yahoo until I looked up in the corner and saw the Yahoo logo. Like, what the hell is this? Does this? I wonder if it tells you. I'm guessing, seeing as how when you search for Linux Mint, the first thing you get is an advertisement from Microsoft Azure. Does it say if? Yep, it's powered by Bing. So why not just use Bing then? It has to be something that they got paid for. I probably never used Yahoo. Somebody says 2012, no to Yahoo. Last time I used Yahoo search was 2009. Like, it's been about the same amount of time for me. It's like probably back in high school or maybe college. I probably used Yahoo. No, even in the late 2000s, I was using Google. You know, it's just, I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. So, yeah. The one thing I will give them credit for on Linux Mint is that their new website looks amazing. It looks, I mean, maybe it's just because the other one was so bad. Anything would have been better. But the new one is actually really, really good. Oh, right here, this is the reason why they use Yahoo. We have an answer. But DuckDuckGo is also a sponsor. So, I mean, it's really weird that they chose, apparently Yahoo's given them more money. All right, so if Canadian, you said that if Yahoo vanished from the internet, anybody would notice. My mother would notice. She still uses Yahoo as her homepage. And yeah, I know you can add Google, you can add DuckDuckGo and make it your default. I'm just saying that by default, out of the box, it's Yahoo, and it's a weird selection. It's just weird. I don't think Yahoo does make money. Honestly, I'm pretty sure Verizon owns them. Though Verizon may have sold them, because they were independent, and then they were owned by AOL, and then AOL was bought by Verizon. I think, anyways, I don't know. It's really weird. That Yahoo has changed hands and been broken up for spare parts for quite a long time. So, who the hell knows how they make money? Wonder why the screen flashes when you add an applet. Verizon still owns Yahoo. Okay, I don't really keep track of it. Where's that separator that I just added? It's not actually adding a separator here somewhere. It's just flashing. That's really weird. I don't think that's supposed to do that, right? Oh, here are the separators. Right here. And you can't... Wait, you can't make the separator, like, bigger? That's probably not what you're looking... Then separator's probably not what I was looking for. Notifications, panel launchers, which is this thing here. Recent documents you can add, that's cool. Spacer, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, now that's better. And then you can configure that so that it's bigger. So there's a little bit of space there, okay. That's better. And we can get out of that. I mean, it still looks dumb, but at least they're not, you know, right up on top of each other. I'd probably actually delete both of those things and like use something like Plank or like Latte Doc or whatever. Made any scripts? I have a DWM Ricer script that doesn't work anymore. It was pretty cool. The one that I made for the Bash challenge was also cool. That was like a dot files manager that went through and just, you know, made a whole bunch of symbolic links. That was nice. My first use of a while loop. Why would you want to make KDE resemble Windows 11? I don't understand why you would want to do that. Frankly, I think Windows 11 looks kind of fugly to me, but that's just me. I've gotten so far away from the Windows paradigm. Like, even this, I have to move the bar up here just so it doesn't look like a little bit like Windows. But if I were to stick on Linux Mint, I wouldn't be using like a panel like this at all. I'd have to install a window manager. Like, I'm not a floating window manager guy right now. This is really messing around with my, organization, whatever. Also, what is that sound that it decides to play? That is, like, can you turn that off? That's the most annoying sound ever. Hey, like, it would be worse if you had like a that sound from Dumb and Dumber. Hey guys, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Ah! I'm just a tiling window manager guy. Try Control Alt and down arrow. What does that do? Control Alt and down arrow. Oh, that's like a fancy Alt Tab. Does Alt Tab work too? It does. It's just that though. Oh, but it does give you like a preview. Oh, cool. Not that I ever use. I'm so not used to using Alt Tab anymore. I used to use Alt Tab all the time. What was that? I haven't used OpenBox in a long time. You can turn the sound off. Okay. They should do that by default, because having a sound is stupid. It's bloat. Yeah, it's kind of like activities in GNOME. It's also like the expose thing that Mac had. Or maybe has. I don't even know. I'm sure Linux probably had the expose stuff before Mac had it. That's usually the way it works. You like the sound? Well, I mean, that's probably a subjective thing. I'm just not used to things bleeping and blooping when I move windows around. It makes me think that there's like an animal somewhere, in my room that I'm just not hearing. Like that, it's not consistent either, so it only does it there, and it does it there. But if you go to the top, there's no sound. What about the bottom? There's it, but at the bottom, but not at the top. Is that because I made that change earlier? That's a little weird. But whatever. I would definitely turn that off. Oh, there's a boot up sound? I didn't even know, because I'd have to have my headphones on. My speakers burned out on that I have up here above the desk. One of them doesn't work at all, and the other one's so I had to unplug them. Use a visual bell on Emacs. Anybody know where Emacs Peter has been lately? I haven't seen him in the Discord either. I hope he's okay. The streams aren't the same without him coming in and shouting about Emacs and Gentoo. I guess that would make sense, being an accessibility thing, but I mean, then wouldn't it make more sense if it made a different sound based on where it is? But they're all the same sound. I mean, maybe I just can't hear it. I don't know. Oh, no, the worst operating system I've ever used with sound effects, it was a Samsung phone. It was the original, like, Galaxy S3 or S4 or something. It's whichever one had like the faux leather back, and the skin on Android over that literally had these little blooping water sounds every time you touched the screen. It was just, it was so bad. And they made it so hard to turn off, too. It was just the worst design Samsung ever had. So there's no wobbly windows in wait, you can't even turn on, you can't turn on wobbly windows? What the hell was that? Did you guys see that? There was like a screen tearing at the on the browser, but it's apparently not there anymore. Okay. Maybe I already have settings open. That's because you search for settings, it should just put the settings at the top. The search in almost every menu like this is just bad. It is bad. Because it doesn't, I mean, it should give you the thing that you were looking for, you know, at the top that is most likely that you're searching for. You know, whatever. It's dumb. Anyways. So you can't, you know, there's no such thing as wobbly windows here. Why wouldn't it have wobbly windows? Probably, I mean, it uses, it uses Mutter, and Mutter has wobbly windows. I think you can enable wobbly windows in Mutter. Maybe I'm thinking of a different window manager. But it doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to install a compositor or something that has wobbly windows, because you can do it like on Mate. So then, like the Mate tweak tool that comes by default, which is just like, ooh, a tweak tool that comes by default. You can change the compositor on that. Though, I mean, really, I don't know that I would ever do the wobbly windows things, but it'd be fun to play with for a while. I will give Linux Mint one thing, you know, out of the box, no screen tearing. Like, a lot of Linux distributions, they have screen tearing out of the box, and you have to fix that. With Linux Mint, I haven't seen any. Now, I've seen a couple like glitches when I was doing editing the panel, that flash or whatever was going on. I don't think that was supposed to be there. And while I was, you know, doing the searching thing, something was going on in the background that I wasn't really paying attention to. But no screen tearing. So they probably pulled the wobbly windows out. So now we know exactly what they've been doing to Ubuntu. They've been taking out snaps, and they've been taking out wobbly windows. There are wobbly windows and extensions. All right, this is the second time somebody's mentioned extensions. What are are extensions basically the same thing as like GNOME extensions? Oh, cool. Okay, so this is the way GNOME should do extensions. You can actually download extensions inside the desktop environment. How shocking. Holy shit. Tile your windows as you like. Okay, here we go. Is that something that you can, like, do we have to, like, now enable this or something? What do we do? Uninstall, disable, enable. Here we go. What, okay, so here's the settings. Super G for G tile. So, let's see here. Okay, that's way more work than it needed to be. That's really weird. Okay. I'm sure there's more to this than meets the eye, but that's really kind of, that's... it can make Cinnamon unstable. So I probably should not just go through and start installing willy-nilly things that will mess around with OBS, is what you're saying, while I'm doing a stream. Okay, I'll stop doing that. But that's really cool that you can install them from here. That's definitely needs to be the way GNOME needs to do it. I mean, seriously, the whole going to a website to install your extensions is just the stupidest thing. I'm going to still mess around with this thing. I want to know more about this layout for button 2. For button 1 and button... What are these buttons of which you speak? Layout for button 4. So Super G... I mean... What? Animations, auto close. Whoever came up with GTile, I don't think has ever actually used a tiling window manager before. I'm just getting this feeling that I mean, it would just be, I mean, at this point, wouldn't it just be easier just to, you know, resize the window yourself? I mean, that's really weird. Like, there's no way on earth that they've actually ever used like a tiling window manager before, because that's not how they work, okay? All right, we gotta look at that again. What else? I mean, I have to be missing something. I mean, all right, let's do it with a window that can actually be resized. Let's do this one here. Super G, and then okay. I mean, which is faster? So let's say I got this full screen, or no, let's say I have it like this, and let's say I want it from here to like to the middle of the screen. I could go through and do this and then this. And that took that amount of time. Or I could do Super G, click here, drag to here. I mean, they probably took up the same amount of time, but I mean, it just like added like 4 different steps. That is just the weirdest thing. Most desktop environments that have this like tiling window manager extensions things, like they all have them. Pop! OS was like the first one that had it, and then KDE has one called Cronkite. And they all have their weird quirks, right? Like the one for Pop! OS duplicates use of the super key, because super key in GNOME enters into the activity menu. But it also, when you enable tiling, it also acts as your super key. So it's kind of doing double duty, which they needed to change. So that's one quirk for that. And Cronkite, some things are just not meant to be tiled, and it doesn't work all the time. You can tell it's like an add-on extension script. It doesn't work as great, but it's definitely, of the 3, I think are best. This here is just weird. I don't understand this whatsoever. Like okay, so you can press this button here, and it will actually go through and like tile for you. That's not. So if I bring one of these, oops. Cronkite is just an extension you can add on KDE. That's all it is. You even add it within the KDE settings app. Okay, so, and if we open up something else here, and then do Super G, we can click on this button here, and it'll actually tile them side by side. That's not, I mean, it still would be better if you could go through and, like, just make this a key binding, other than having to use, I mean, the point of having a tiling window manager is not to have to use your mouse. Now, they do have some kind of key binding system here, but it doesn't tell you what layout for button 1. Is this button 1? Like, no, like it's not. There has to be some documentation somewhere for this that I'm just not gonna read because it's just. But this is that was weird. Okay, I'm glad that I definitely found that, because that just it's nice to see something that's weird from time to time. Joshua, do you use BSPWM? Because that uses the spiral one by default. Sloth sees, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I mean, there's no reason why it can't be both. Why would you have to disagree? The point of a tiling window manager is both to you to keep you from using your mouse if you want to, I guess, and also to, you know, tile windows, I guess. I mean, it could be both. For me personally, it keeps you from having, because it's meant to be navigated with a keyboard. Same thing with GNOME, really. The reason why a lot of people don't like GNOME, I mean, I have other reasons, but a lot of times the reason why people don't care for GNOME is because they think you're supposed to go in and use your mouse to navigate it. And GNOME is actually supposed to be used with your keyboard. Yeah, Awesome Window Manager does have the best of all of them, I think. BSPWM does have some quirks that you have to get used to, but I like it. It's not my favorite. DWM is definitely my favorite, but... And I probably have this... Matter of fact, I do have the spiral patch installed. I just never use it. That's why they call it awesome. Yeah. The one thing Awesome needs is a better default wallpaper. That wallpaper is just bad. Oh man, guys, it's been a long, long, long day. I still need to make a video for tomorrow, too. Yeah, DT loves his Xmonad. I can't stand Haskell. Haskell hates me with a passion. Just do yourself a solid and use EXWM on Gentoo. No! I said I was going to try EXWM someday, but I'm going to wait until it was... System Crafters is redoing a lot of stuff on it, so I thought I'd wait until he was done. Go to bed, Matt. If I go to bed like at whatever time it is now, it's like 8:30. I'll be back up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I gotta be up for a couple more hours. I think you can install just the regular packages on like a different Ubuntu based distro, so you could probably install it like on Devon. You probably could, because it's not, or at least it was, I haven't looked at it in a while, they provide like a PPA. The thing I don't like about Regolith is they move all of the configuration files to weird places and rename them. Like, I understand why they do it, it's just kind of makes it hard to go through and tweak stuff when we're so used to using the i3 stuff in its proper place. Like, I think, make sure I know what I'm talking about. All right, I gotta make sure it's full screen. So yeah, you can the Regolith desktop 1.6 PPA is right here. All you got to do is add the PPA and install it. So you should be able to use this probably on anything that's based on Ubuntu. I don't know if it would work on Debian or not. That'd probably be your mileage may vary, but I don't see why it wouldn't work on Linux Mint. It works on Ubuntu 18.04, 20.04, 21.04. So it would definitely work on Mint or anything else based on Ubuntu. I honestly haven't used Regolith since its first iteration, like when it first came out. And that has been at least 18 months ago, maybe even 2 years. It's been a while. Are we gonna write some stuff today? I did write some stuff. Can you tell? I even went to the dark theme. That was as ricey as I got today. Although I do have a Qtile ricing video coming out later this week if I get it done. So that should be fun. What is Regolith? Regolith is an i3 based like skin thing. It's they've gone through and repackaged i3 gaps and made a whole bunch of themes for i3 and made i3 like really user friendly. And it's probably much more. Oh, it also has like a true GNOME backend, so that everything like if you wanted to change display settings, it wouldn't use arandr. It would use the GNOME like settings panel. So it's truly meant for new users to Window Manager, so that you can go through and use a whole bunch of the GNOME settings to manage your system while still having i3 as the desktop environment. Xmonad is almost as featureful as awesome. That's true. It's just written in Haskell. Lua is easier than Haskell to learn. That's for sure. At least I think so. Now, granted, I'm not. Maybe the reason why I thought that was because I've been exposed to Lua a lot more because I've been messing around with Lua for NeoVim, but Haskell just, for whatever reason, it doesn't like me. Yeah, the whole suckless argument because it doesn't come with a bar is a weird argument, okay? Because really, the whole point of the suckless isn't that it doesn't come with features, it just doesn't come with a whole bunch of lines of code. And I don't know which, I couldn't answer the question which out of the box, which is lighter on code, DWM or Xmonad. I couldn't tell you that, but I would bet you that they're probably close to being the same. I wonder if we can look that up. Many lines of code is Xmonad. All right, Wikipedia, don't fail me now. Written in Haskell, so it's 56 kilobytes. I guess we could look up DWM. $20 kilobytes. So, I mean, that's not technically a very good, comparison, but one's 20 kilobytes, one's 56 kilobytes. Which one's more suckless? But again, that doesn't really mean all that much because it could be, because I think the reason why Xmonad is heavier is because it comes with more libraries and stuff pre-installed. I don't know. It's weird. I like the DWM thing because I can build the features into it that I really want, and I understand how to do it. Whereas Xmonad comes with a whole bunch of stuff like that you can just add out of the box, which is true. But their documentation, which is better than DWM's for sure, still doesn't do a very good job of explaining how conflicts work and stuff, because you can install two different Haskell libraries, or I don't know if they're called libraries or whatever, but you can install two different ones and they'll conflict with each other, and you can do it in two different ways, and it doesn't really do a good job of explaining, at least to the non-programmer out there, why those two things don't work together. It's just not a good thing. What is WES-term? Am I going to regret Googling this? Like, this isn't going to be a like a porno site, is it? WES-term is a GPU-accelerated cross-platform terminal emulator and multiplexer written by WES and implemented in Rust. Has anybody ever made a video on it? There's literally 2 videos on WES-term. That's literally it. And one of them's on Reddit. This video's not... okay. Is it, like, supposed to be faster than, like, Alacrity? Like, is there a good reason to use it? This isn't a very good video. Because he's not actually showing stuff that, that the terminal can do. He's just editing text. Like, what does the configuration file look like? Configuration. Like, is it... Stupid mosquito. I fucking hate mosquitoes. They always end up in the house. Configuration file structure. So it's written... That doesn't look too bad. It's written in Lua. The configuration file is written in Lua. Oh, I might look at that. I'm pretty attached to Alacrity, honestly. After Termite bit the dust, rest in peace, Termite, Alacrity's kind of become my go-to terminal emulator. Simply because when you make it... Fuck off, mosquito. Get away from me. I'm not that sweet. When you make a change to the Alacrity configuration file, and then you save it, it automatically updates, which is cool. It says it's written in Rust with a Lua configuration file. Doesn't mean that's what it says. It says it's implemented in Rust. Is it just partially in Rust? Do we have if we have a GitHub repository for it? Documentation is pretty good. At least there's a lot here. Ah, here we go. Yep, Rust, Python, and other. So mostly Rust. Yeah, Termite was so good. Yeah, that's a good point, Krishna. That Alacrity is not in the Ubuntu Debian repositories, but you can get a PPA for it if you wanted to use it. And if you use Pop! OS, it's actually in the Pop! OS repos. Why they don't package it and put it in the Ubuntu repos, I don't know. They have some kind of moral opposition to Ubuntu, which, you know, I have a moral opposition to a lot of things, so. And I'm out of water. All right, let's see. How long have I been going? I've been going for 1 hour and 13. That's not bad. Has a bunch of color schemes installed, huh? I will save this and give it a look. Maybe make a video about it. I haven't done a video on a terminal emulator in a long time. Or maybe I'll add it to one of the top 5 apps of the month lists. Alacrity has a snap. Maybe I have to take a look and not use Alacrity anymore. I'm just kidding. Why would you want a terminal emulator as a snap? How would that even work? Because it's containerized. I don't know. All right. Anyways, guys, I think I'm kaput for the evening. I gotta make a video tonight, or at least start working on one so that it doesn't take me so long tomorrow. Stupid collar. So I think I'm just gonna knock off here. It has been kind of fun. I've got to rant a little bit about Linux Mint and explain my position just a little bit more, which has been fun. I really do appreciate everybody who popped in. It was a good conversation. I appreciate it. I do have a Discord server. I can't actually get, maybe I can give you I can put the link, copy link here. This is the brand new Discord server that is not, oh, screw you, YouTube. Nobody likes you. Here we go. That'd be better. Anyways, there's that in case you wanted to join the Discord server. Before I go, I'd like to take a moment to thank my current patrons. Devon, Chris, EastCoastWeb, Gentoo is fun too, Patrick L, Marcus, Maeglin, Sven, Jackson Knife and Tool, Joshua Leach, Steve A, Mitchel, ArchSinner, Marek, Camp, JDawg, and the BSDs Rock. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.